Hello students, here we are. We are doing video 2.5. It is conditional statements, and your objective is I can recognize a conditional statement and their parts. Okay, the Excel skill that you want to focus on is I1. All right, so let's go ahead and start. Let's go, flippers. So our first definition is going to be of conditional statement. So a conditional statement, okay, is going to be an if-then statement that has a hypothesis and a conclusion. So an example of this would be here. If I like chocolate, and I do sometimes, then I like cake. So this is my conditional statement. Now I'm going to highlight the part that is the hypothesis. The hypothesis starts with the if. So this is the hypothesis all the way up until the conclusion, which is starting with then. So then I like the cake. It is very important also to note that a conditional statement has a truth value. It is either true or false. You should be writing this down. So if I were to look back at the statement that I had before to evaluate its truth value, if I like chocolate, then I like cake. Well, I would say this is actually false because cake does not necessarily have to be chocolate. It could be vanilla, it could be buttercream, it could be Red Devil. Oh, I'm making myself hungry. So it does not have to be true. It can be a conditional statement, but again, it can be true or false. So one of the things that we do in mathematics is we have something called a logical equivalent. And that is where we use actual logic symbols to talk about mathematics. So if I were to write the statement that I used before, if I like chocolate, then I like cake, I could also use this as its logical equivalent, which would be if P, then Q. Where if I like chocolate would be P, the hypothesis, and then I like cake would be the conclusion. So if P, then Q. And again, that can be true or false. And that is actually written in mathematics this way. P, and this little arrow to the right, and then Q. Let's look at some examples. The first one says, what are the hypothesis and conclusion of the conditional? So here it is. It says, if an animal is a robin, then the animal is a bird. So we can identify here, if an animal is a robin, would be my hypothesis. And then the animal is a bird would be my conclusion. Number 2, it says, is a conditional true or false? And if it is false, find a counterexample. So first let's figure out if it's true or false. So the conditional says, if a month has 28 days, then it is February. All right, so let's think about the months. Let's see. January definitely has 28 days, but that's not February. February, however, does have 28 days. Most times, lots of times, but that's not the only month that has 28 days. So this statement is then false. And my counterexample is that January has 28 days plus more. All right, so let's look at number 3. Number 3 clearly says, is a conditional true or false? If it is false, then find a counterexample. So it says, if a number is divisible by 3, then it is odd. So let's think of numbers that are divisible by 3. Being divisible by 3 means if I multiply 3 times some whole number, then I will get this number. So 9 is divisible by 3 because 9 divided by 3 equals 3. That's odd. Okay. 12 is divisible by 3 because 12 divided by 3 is 4. Uh-oh, 4 is not odd. So this is my counterexample, 12, and the statement is false. Last but not least, number 4 says, how can you write the following statement as a conditional? So sometimes you might get conditionals that don't actually have if and then, and you need to write it so that it does have those. So I want you to think about it for a minute, and then we're going to write it. So here is the answer. It says, if 2 angles are vertical, then they share a vertex. Clearly, the hypothesis in red, the conclusion in blue. Secret hot question, it says, how can you write dolphins or mammals as a conditional? So that's what you need to write. And remember, your IXL skill is I1. Have a great night.